A very good morning to you and welcome to yet another exciting episode of Life and Style. It's Monday and this is how we like to start our Mondays, inspirationally. Yes, so it's Inspiration Monday. So we look to motivate, empower, and make you be a better person. Like you keep saying, the most important project you could ever work on is you. So on Motivate today, I take you out of town to pick the brain of one amazing guy. He's been called several names. He's been called a revolutionary and visionary leader, a change activist. He's been called a perfectionist by some. He is the head of Radio Maisha, a husband and a father to three amazing and beautiful daughters. We're here to pick his brain from a local radio station at the coast to one of the biggest radio stations in Kenya. Let's go pick his brain. Hi, how are you? High five, double high five. High five. Oh, TJ.
Hey.
How
There you
are you?
With Kali.
Yes.
Good to see you.
See, I'm holding Taji over here. She's quite heavy, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Kilonga Viava.
She took after the dad.
Oh, yeah?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
What's up?
So I've met the ladies.
Oh, yeah. Imani and Soraya.
Yemeni, how are you? And Taji.
Oh,
There
yeah,
you
of
go.
course. She had already introduced Taji, yeah?
All right. Can I sit? Do you want to hold?
Come, Mama.
There you go.
There you go. Oh, welcome.
Ah, Sante, you have such a beautiful family.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
quite, first of all, we're Facebook, tunakuona pale picture, left, right, center, with them girls. How does it feel to be the king?
I'm
in the
surrounded
kingdom?
by girls.
Yeah.
I'm the only man in this house. Yeah, for real.
Na feel
I'm the only
special
one.
sana sana.
Yeah, very special.
And-
I'm surrounded by love.
Ooh,
Very
you're
important.
very
yeah.
lucky.
I am.
Very, very
One
lucky.
lucky man. One lucky man. yeah.
Absolutely. So you were reading when you came in. Is this a habit that you have?
I read
what
a
are
lot.
you reading? Okay.
The editor. This is Max Hastings.
Mac, what is it about?
This is a turnaround guru. A guy who went to the Telegraph, the Daily Telegraph
Yeah.
in the UK and turned it around. It was actually going down and made it profitable and became the market leader.
Great. So it's an autobiography.
It is an autobiography. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. A big tattoo over here, which you don't get to see at work. Does it have any significance?
Tribal. I'm a lion. Lion of Judah.
Really?
I'm a conqueror.
Okay.
But remember, I'm a Christian, and there's some verses in the Bible that are against tattoos.
Okay.
But I don't know. I got this way back when I used to work for the BBC. Yeah. So it's those days.
You were young and
Yeah.
living your life.
Exactly.
But at least there's a meaning to it. I mean, lion is something. He's the king of the jungle.
I love tattoos.
Ooh.
I won't lie to you.
Kuna zengine, apart from you know.
Yeah. Some-
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about the one we're seeing.
Exactly. Please keep it to this one.
Absolutely. So let's just get to the interview. This is Motivate, and
Yes.
from Motivate, we draw inspirations from your life, from the things that you do, from your work experience and stuff like that. And you being the head of Radio Maisha, you did not wake up one day and become that. You are, a household name.
Yeah.
So maybe you can take us through that journey, telling us, the highs, the lows, and everything that you had to experience to become the person that you are today.
My life is quite interesting. I went to high school, and then there was a bit of a gap after high school and college. So I went to college much later.
What
I
was
went
the
to
gap?
college when I knew what I wanted to do.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
When you got the realization. of
Yeah,
that.
because after high school I got into odd jobs, and I worked I even worked at a petrol station.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Nijazie
I
tank.
pumped. Yeah.
Nijazie tank.
Yeah,
Tom.
nijazie tank.
Okay.
Na nikafanya kazi and it was good.
Okay.
When it lasted. And I also became a salesman. I marketed detergents in Mombasa. And then eventually I went to college.
All right.
And then the first, let me call it pioneer FM station in Mombasa, that's Baraka FM, just happened in 2000,
All right.
1999, 2000.
Okay.
And by then, I was actually almost through with my college. And they were looking for talent. I just happened to be one of the people that were going through a workshop for broadcasting at the Catholic Communication, the Mombasa Archdiocese, the Catholic Church had,
They had this workshop.
a workshop, and I was part of it. And we were invited, and I was picked.
That's how you joined Baraka.
That's how I joined Baraka.
Baraka ukapelekwa pale breakfast.
Baraka was big. All of a sudden, I became a big name, very famous,
Yes.
and the things that go with it. Life became, I can't say unbearable,
Yeah.
but I think I was a big fish in a very small pond.
Right.
Then after 3 years, I became a very small fish in a huge pond called the BBC.
Great. Before we move to the BBC, this is where we met the lovely queen of the palace at Baraka FM.
I've always told people, all the time I was at Baraka, I was a mentor to Maureen. That's my current, my wife,
Yes.
Masawe, yeah? And she came as an intern on my show. That's the breakfast show. We were doing the show with Monica Sumbi. Monica is with Sinovet, I think, now. She moved on to Hope FM and upwards. She's been very successful also. But thing is, while at Baraka, nothing really happened until I left.
Really?
For real, yeah.
Being very professional right now.
No, really.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened.
Okay.
I always looked at her as this very beautiful, hardworking intern.
Okay.
And at that time, I used to live in a place called Mikindani, and I was driving this small jalopy KX something, and I would drive all the way to Tudor, pick her up at 5 in the morning.
Wow.
And then got to work with her.
Oh, because she's an intern at the breakfast show.
Yeah, she was an intern. And,
Yeah.
She just needed that, you know,
kusaidiwa
leg up.
kidogo.
Yeah.
Sinaona venye ulikuwa charity worker, Samaritan, nini. But then again,
I was a gentleman.
you were a gentleman, clearly, still are. When you were working at Baraka FM, looking ahead and probably the things you had to go through, you had to become something that probably you were not prepared for because you were not even cleared school. People go through internship, or sijui tafuta kazi mara mbili tatu ndio uweze kuchukuliwa to be head, or not even head, like do the breakfast show and, you know, grow into it. But you came in, you're not even that, you are at a workshop. What is going through your mind at that point?
You see, at the workshop, we were actually recording a lot of productions for the Vatican Radio.
Okay.
A lot of radio stuff.
Right.
So I was already being introduced into broadcast. But I fancied myself as a writer, you know.
Do you write nowadays?
Took myself so seriously. And all. I've written a few articles and columns for local newspapers.
Yeah.
But then the moment I went into broadcast, I went full force. I left writing.
All right.
Yeah.
Baraka FM, BBC. This is international, man.
Yeah, that was
Maybe
huge.
Kiswahili yako sasa now you have to, you're doing it, the Swahili, yes, but then you've got all these other people, the world actually, BBC is the world.
That was huge. Yeah.
That was huge. How was that for you?
That was huge. I mean, I wasn't even prepared for it. It was actually 2002.
Okay.
We had elections in Kenya then. And apparently, it was actually December 2002. And some BBC bosses had visited Mombasa. Campaigns were ongoing, and Kibaki then was the opposition leader, and it was quite clear that the opposition was going to actually take over from the ruling party, that was KANU.
All right.
I believe, I was told later, that the way we covered it, the way I did my show,
All right.
during that period, because these guys were visiting the coast at that time, and Baraka was the big station in the
Mombasa.
coast, and so they listened in, and I was actually headhunted. Yeah, I was
Wanaita poached in our industry.
poached. Poached inakaa mbaya, unakaa ni
Headhunted
kama
in-
pembe za ndovu. So
Headhunted. Okay.
headhunted, yeah, yeah.
So you moved to BBC that way. How long were you there for?
I moved to the BBC. I stayed at the BBC for 10 years.
10 years.
10 good years. Wow. 2013 to 2022 or 3 to 2013.
You know, it's very interesting because when you look at it, kawaida person will be telling you, why move? I mean, BBC is it. We are all working towards getting to BBC. So why that?
My wife was
that
also
change?
against it. Everybody was against it. Everyone I consulted was against it. But you see, I'd done my beat at the BBC. You know, been there, done that, got a certificate. I traveled the world. One thing I'll always thank the BBC for was opening the world to me. And I went everywhere. I went all over the world. I traveled.
Right.
I was always out of the country every other week.
By this time, you'd already now made it right by Masawe. So,
It's a long story.
Okay.
But I had, yes. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. That's a story for another day.
No problem.
But yeah, we had settled, and I'd visited enough countries around Africa to realize that the FM stations had more impact on people's lives than the BBC. And the BBC was actually losing out on audiences in Kenya.
Okay.
And I was a bit frustrated. You know, you have this very glorified job, big job, and you travel a lot, but you're hardly known as a journalist in your own country. So I said, okay, with all the experience that I managed to gather and the knowledge, the skills, how about coming to, you know, impact not only on people's lives, but also on upcoming journalists and mentoring them and building them.
You know, whatever you were doing for the other African countries is what you wanted to do for your own country.
Exactly.
Let me come home and do it.
Yeah.
And somebody said something very interesting. People will not remember you for your success, but they will remember you for your significance, what you meant to them. And I'll tell you one thing for sure, Radio Maisha has a significance, and every day it gets better and bigger. Tell us, you getting into Radio Maisha now.
Wow.
It's one of the biggest radio stations we have in Kenya. You know, English and Swahili combined.
You see, the Standard Group is one of the most respected media houses in the region, not just Kenya.
Yeah.
And the Standard Group has platforms. It's a multimedia organization, radio, TV, print, and digital. Now, when I joined, Radio Maisha had been already launched.
Yes.
But it was really struggling.
It was Madilu system.
Madilu system, Sukus.
Papa Wemba.
Oh my God. Hey, you can say that again. And I was like, wow, I've traveled the world. But you know, one thing I came with is throughout my travels, there was this sound that I kept hearing. I'm a very social person, so I go to social places.
Right.
Every place I land into, I'll always find their night spots and go.
Yeah.
And I would listen to this contemporary African sound. You go to Uganda, Club Silk and Angenwa, and there is this contemporary African sound to it. You go to Lagos, same thing. South Africa, same thing. You come to Kenya, and I was like, nobody is actually consolidating all that across Africa and offering it as a sound.
Okay.
So you'd have either a rumba station or rhythm and blues, what I grew up on.
Yeah.
I actually was a very good break dancer.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really looked down upon rumba and lingala back then.
Okay.
Until I grew up.
Yeah.
But then I came to appreciate all kinds of music. The more I got exposed to it. And for me, Radio Maisha was a good thing, but hurriedly put together and delivered to the market. So when I got in, I had to work with the same team. I told everybody.
Changing their mindset.
Yeah, the mindset, the culture.
Wewe kwanza wewe ni mgeni. You found us here.
Yeah, there was some resistance though. There was some resistance by some people. Some of them are my very good friends now, which is a good thing because you know, turning somebody's mind around to come and accept your way of thinking.
Absolutely. And how do you do that? I mean, you know, you having a vision, seeing where you want to take this station, what sound I want to create, how do you set it to these people?
I guess I just realized that I had some inborn, you know, talent in leadership that I hadn't known all this time. Wow. Yeah, and I brought that to bear on. I listened more than I talked to them or told them what to do. I listened a lot, and it was actually a model where you pull, and then you start pushing back. You push in whatever you think is right for them. Okay. And the moment they actually took ownership of my ideas, at times I always sit back and laugh a lot because they think they're ideas, but they're my ideas.
You know, it's very interesting. I talked to Maisha Masharia when I knew I was coming for this interview. She does the show Connect. I was telling me, Mikali, let me tell you, during that time, I even played a Rihanna on my show, you know, trying to, like Japanni was just trying to, you know, give us this idea. I remember back announcing Chris Brown, and I'm like, wow! Like Radio Maisha even had that at some point they were at that.
They were all over.
Yeah.
And for me, you see, I like people who have open minds.
True.
But are ready to, you know, intake in whatever is new.
Yeah.
And run with it. I remember you mentioned one day when I got in the first 3 months. She wrote me a resignation letter. She wanted to do that. She wanted to leave.
Why?
You know what I told her?
Yes.
Yes, I accept. Go.
Oh no, she didn't tell me that bit. Wow.
Because I was at a point where I wanted people who were so hungry for success.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But then I was being insensitive, I realized later. So I talked to HR, a very fine lady called Maisha, Maisha Bushiri. She went, talked to one day, and then came and talked to me. And I saw sense in whatever she was saying, and we retained her. Okay. She was also in the family line or something.
Yes.
And so the hormones or something were acting up. But eventually,
yes.
Look at what she turned out to be.
She's the queen of the
airwaves.
Yeah,
she is.
She is the queen of the airwaves.
She's so big. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
She knows that.
Yes.
I always remind her of it.
I had to call her when I was coming for this. It was like, please nipatie juice.
She's one of the biggest success stories at Radio Maisha.
Absolutely. And thinking that she was almost giving up on that.
Almost.
And as a leader, it took some time, or it took you to understand.
To understand her.
And, you know, just try and make things.
And exactly, that's the gist of it. Yeah. Listen more.
Absolutely.
And try to understand.
Most people don't do that, especially leaders. Leaders, you get into a board meeting and you want to speak first. So when you do that, then you're blocking everyone else out.
Yes.
So you listen first, then you tell them, so this is what I was thinking. talking to all the people out there who are looking probably to lead, people who are looking to, change their lifestyle, take a huge leap of faith. I mean, from BBC to Radio Maisha, Rumba Station. That was a leap of faith right there. What
It was number 35.
in the country?
Yeah.
What is it now?
Number 35.
What is it now?
Number 2. We are actually, what we tell people is we are number 1.
Yeah.
Research will catch up with us.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we are number 1. We know that. We believe it.
But what would you tell someone who's, caught up between, taking that leap of faith to, leaving or probably accomplishing their dreams?
I think consistency is what misses in a lot of things. A lot of people start things and then they get all mixed up in other stuff, and that's why I have this.
Absolutely.
This is not jewelry.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it usually goes into that ear. I listen to my product. And one thing people don't know is radio is a lifestyle. People don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, most of the radio that I've done came from my writing.
Absolutely.
I would write and write and write.
Yeah.
And that's what I would actually go and give out. And you see, you have to be very informed, because our listeners are not stupid.
No.
A lot of our listeners are even more intelligent than some of the presenters on air. So it's very risky going on air if you're not really informed. So you need to read a lot, you need to, it's the age of the internet, so you need to browse a lot. You need to be informed, in short. Yeah.
You need to be informed.
I see a lot of people getting into media and journalism for the wrong reasons. Fame, and just to be known and become a big personality or something.
Yeah.
That's not media.
That's not
journalism.
It's a calling.
It's the body of your works.
True.
Who can actually stand and say this is the body of your works, as we call it,
Absolutely.
and put them together and showcase them. So for me, when I was at the BBC, I learned so much in delivery and the work ethic and the value of time. Yeah. And the value of doing background, research and searches and all that. And I brought them to bear on my present job as the head of radio at Radio Maisha. And that's why for me, it's not a surprise that we are successful. True. It's not a surprise. No. I hope I'm not, I don't come out as bragging or that.
No, we get it. I mean, you just said you guys are number 1. It's the research teams that need to catch up with you guys.
They'll catch up.
Yeah, they will catch up. They will catch up. It's one thing, changing Radio Maisha from what it used to be, from number 35 to number 1. But maintaining it is another thing. How do you do that, Tom?
Okay, I'll tell you this. I know my country. I know Kenya. I know the society I live in. Yeah. I'm a very aspirational person. And so I aspire to be many things, even more than what you see here. Yeah. But the thing is, you have to be true to yourself and to the society you live in. So radio is not about you. And I believe media as a whole is not about you. It's about the society you live in. And so you have to reflect that society and help that society move for better to another space. I have this life outside of my professional engagements that feeds into my profession because I got to work a happy person.
Very important.
Yeah, and then I come back looking forward to where I'm going. Yeah. And then looking forward to the next day.
You get a recharge.
A recharge here and back there.
Yes.
And I tell you, and that keeps me going. I like it.
Absolutely.
I love my life.
That's
I do.
Really nice.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. But thank you so much for having us. Thank you for allowing us to come into your space. Thank you for the barbecue. I can't wait to really indulge when the cameras are not looking.
Exactly.
But, you know, that's very, very important. If you've been following this conversation, Tom Japanni has been saying that you need to be consistent. You need to maintain quality. You need to be there. And it's not about you. It's about the society, it's about the community, the space you're at. So when you put your interests before, then you are losing the point. He also says, live and let live. Be aware of what drains you, be aware of what recharges you to get back to what you love to do. Well, that has been Motivate with your girl, we call it, of course, my guest today, Tom Japanni, head of Radio Maisha 102.7 in Nairobi. Make sure you tune in to just understand what we've been talking about. A few things to take home. Remember, maintain quality in what you do. Consistency is very important. And please understand what drains you and what recharges you to be better at what you do. Live and let live. That is my take home. That is my take home. I don't know what is yours today, but I hope you love the show. We take a very short commercial break. When we come back, we have Catherine Wangi on books and blogs, so don't go too far. Remember to tell us what mantra or philosophy you live by on the social media pages. It's KTN Life and Style on Facebook, KTN Life _style on Twitter and Instagram. SMS is 22840. We'll be right back.
I actually don't have a daddy joke on the top of my head. I'm sorry, no. A daddy joke? No, I'm not a daddy. Thank God. Or not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.